Hey guys, Chris Natton here, epigenetics coach from BioMind Executive. Thanks so much for joining me today. I am very excited to share with you my genetic report. This is the genetic report that you receive after we do an interpretation call, and this is what you will use throughout the coaching program if you choose to go that route. And a lot of people ask me, what's the difference between a direct consumer report, such as getting your health report from 23andMe, versus working with me as a client, doing an interpretation or coaching. And so the big difference between the two you will see in this demonstration here. But in summary, what it is that I work with multiple ingredients. I work with your data, and I work with you. Those would be the two main ones, and you work with me. So there's basically three ingredients, and 23andMe, for instance, all they work with is your data. And what they do is they'll look at particular SNPs and they'll give you solutions based on that SNP. But the reality is that SNPs are interrelated. And they're also not absolutes. And so what I do is I'll interview you during this process as we go through these reports. And because I have access to multiple SNPs relating to one subject, through our interview process and through our discussion, we can then determine if there's something up, if something's lagging or lacking, and something that needs to be addressed, or something that just is null and void based on your genetics and what you're experiencing. We don't need to focus on that. If you get a genetic report, you'll probably be listed with 100 different supplements and 100 different things to do. But the reality is you don't need to do all that. You can narrow it down, based on, one, an overlap of other things that are happening, and two, whether it's happening to you or not. So by working with somebody, you can really narrow down the field of what you need to focus on and really address those key aspects based on your goals, not on just what a report says. So today I'm going to just quickly run through some of the attributes of this report, and hopefully you'll get some good insight as to the value that this thing brings. And so this first one is a nutritional report, and what we do is we go over all these categories, such as hunger and satiety, insulin resistance, gluten risk, dairy and grain sensitivities, your sweet perception and snacking drive. We look at carbs, we look at all of the fats, omega-3s, we look at protein and metabolism. And we look at each one individually. And as I mentioned to you before, look at this first panel. You can see that on the left, these are all of your SNPs. So we're looking at, 14 SNPs there. And on the right, these are your genes. And so through research, we've had 10 years of solid research on these genetic SNPs, so we know a lot about the correlations between these gene types right here and specific outcomes. And so by me interviewing, find out what's going on with hunger and satiety. Are you hungry all the time? Are you constantly snacking? Like, you just can't stop. You never feel full, and it's leading to weight gain. It's leading to, poor food habits, and, the list goes on and on. So what we can do is really dissect this. So if you're experiencing that, I can then discern through this data where the gaps might be and what we need to fill. And it could be something with dopamine. It could be something with adiponectin levels or serotonin, or it could be a ghrelin response. And so any of these things may need to be addressed, but I target those specific things based on what you're telling me and what these genes say. I don't say, oh, because you have risk variant and all these things, you got to do this, that, this, and that. We have targeted solutions for you based on this report. And you can see in here it gives you an overall score, overall summary, but again, this is like the algorithmic piece. That would be similar to what you see in a direct-to-consumer report. In the notes, that's where we get into the details of what's going on with you and what the next steps are. So I'm just going to go through this briefly. You can see the insulin, dairy, gluten, and I go over all of this with you. This is about an hour and a half session with me to go over nutrition, sleep, and supplementation. They're really fascinating reports, enlightening, have a ton of valuable information for you to go home with. And so I want to show you this, the fats category, groundbreaking for most people. Let me tell you, in the day and age of low carbs and high fat diets, this is a game changer. And so, yeah, I just wanted to show you all of this. So please comment below. I'll show you a little bit of this other report. I do detoxification panels. We look at phase 1 detox. We look at methylation, glutathione. We look at mitochondria. So we look at all these gene SNPs. Extremely valuable. Athletic reports. We look at this too. And this is kind of what I get into with my coaching program is these are all the pieces to the puzzle. Like if you're to do an interpretation, it's just like this is the data, this is it. You know, this is where you are at this point in time. But if you're looking at doing a coaching program, we put all those pieces together in a tremendous way to really up-level, you know, your performance and where you are in life and how you feel about it. So I'm really excited about this stuff. It's really changed my trajectory and where I'm going and how I feel today. And I really hope the same for you, and I want the same for you. So check this out. Please do your research because there's nothing on the market quite like what we do, what I do here and will do with you. Please post some comments, ask me some questions, anything you want. Check out my website. Message me if you want to get on a call. We can do a 20-minute discovery call, see where you're at, see what the best program is for you, and let's do this. Let's continue to up-level our performance and you know, really be excited with where we are and where we're going. You can see I'm still scrolling through this really quick. You know, I'll plug in all those recommendations. Here's your supplementation report, B12, B6, we're looking at all of this. Vitamin A, selenium, magnesium, choline, vitamin C, vitamin E, D. You know, all of these are just so crucial to rounding out, you know, who we are and who we can be. But we've got to look at these SNPs individually and then put it all together like a puzzle. And I'm telling you, I've seen some great success stories and will continue to do so. I hope you become one of those success stories. You know, one of my big stories is I was on the high saturated fat diet. I got onto that and I was running with that for about 3 years, like tons of butter in my coffee and vegetables every day. You know what? It turns out that I do not do well with saturated fats. And at the same time, I started getting blood work done, talking to my functional medicine doctor, things were going south. Because I got my genetic report done, was able to interpret that one piece of information, like I changed that immediately, and it's a big game changer. You know, I found out about nitric oxide, you know, like I used to get crashed after a workout and didn't know why. You know why? It's because of this. I did not produce nitric oxide, and so I needed to supplement with that. That, again, was a huge game changer. So you can see all of these little pieces can really up-level the performance in a day, let alone compound it over time throughout a life. You know, we got to focus on today, do the little things we can, so that in the long run, you know, we feel better and we're in a better position to be where we want to be. So, again, this is what I do. I want to help you. Please send me comments, you know, post this, share it with your friends, do whatever you need to do to get this data in your hands and start discovering what is unique to you. Because it all lies in your genes and you've got complete control over that. Don't let some fancy marketer sell you his diet because it worked for him. Find out what works for you and take control. All right, y'all. Thanks a lot for listening. I enjoyed speaking with you today. Again, my name is Chris Natton, BioMind Executive. You can find me on Facebook. You can look at my website, biomindexecutive.com. I offer coaching services. I do genetic interpretations. I offer access to consumer-based lab reports, blood labs, supplements. We can look at the whole thing and we can get you dialed in. Thanks a lot. Take care.